where we're gonna watch a video. Unfortunately, Mr. Jeroen Baten couldn't attend live, couldn't be here with us on live. So for this reason, we recorded the video with him. And Mr. Jeroen Baten, he is working with CMDBuild in his company, which is a very big company. You will hear it from his own voice. And then he also has a blog, a technical blog, where he actually wrote a very, very nice article about us, which I invite you all to look for it and read it, and because it's just, I think it's just very interesting. So I just play the video and watch and hear Mr. Jeroen Batten.
Hello and welcome at my presentation for the CMDBuild day today. I will talk about the use of CMDBuild within the Deltares organization. I'll first introduce myself. I'll show you an introduction of Deltares. What is this organization? What do we do? I give you a small demo of our CMDBuild configuration. An historic overview of the use of CMDBuild within Deltares, several use cases where CMDBuild is at the heart of the solution, and at the end we wrap things up. So who am I? My name is Jeroen Baten in Dutch, but Jeroen Baten is fine as well. And I've been in IT for over 30 years. So anything you want to know about old systems, I've been there. I'm a member of the Deltares team of advice and projects. So we advise internal customers, clients, and we do internal IT projects. I'm also the project leader of the open source project LibrePlan, which is a project management application, which the source you can find on GitHub. And I'm also the author of, I believe, 11 books on Linux and open source software. So what is Deltares? Well, to explain that, I've got this movie I would like you to see. Our CMDBuild configuration, what does it look like? Well, we use CMDBuild to manage several applications, well, 116 of them. We have 12 different service instances types, service types, over 700 servers, virtual, but also physical servers, and a huge bunch of IP addresses. So we use all these information to find out, to keep the administration of our IT landscape. Which IP address is in use by which server, what does this server operate in a conglomerate of other servers to deliver a certain application to customers. One of the core products that we as Deltares build and deliver all over the world, for instance, is an application called Fuse, the flood early warning system. So it gathers data from river levels, sea levels, etc. And if the levels increase to a critical level, it warns people about it. And it can also do some prediction using calculation models. So that's, for instance, some of the things we do. To give you an impression of our configuration of CMDBuild, I've made a small recording of a desktop session just moving around in the system. So I will show you that next. So after the login screen, the application opens and you see a lot of the applications that we are using. And if you click on one of those applications, you will get the details. So for instance, if we take the Fuse instance, the flood early warning system, to make a global flood forecast, we use several servers. They are all related to things like databases, admin interfaces, etc., etc. And we can even see the history of this information, who entered it into the system, who changed it. If I go to our Customize menu and click on the server, I get a list of 3 pages, and over here you see over 700 instances, servers that we manage. Back to the application. If I pick another relation, for instance, a database, I get the database instance shown and its relations to, for instance, the Fuse instance or the database that serves this database instance. The same goes for the IP addresses. Where we manage a whole range of IP addresses and their allocation. Same goes for the networks, where the IP addresses are a member of, and even the general information like the available DNS servers. So after this small intro of our use, let's have a look at the history of the use of CMDBuild within Deltares. It started about 3 years ago with an orientation. We're looking for a CMDB solution to manage the administrative overhead of IT. And we found eventually, well, after a search of course, CMDBuild. Almost a year went by, of course, also due to other projects, before we started with our first production server, and it has been in use ever since. We've developed several tools that get information out of CMDBuild, like CMDB to Zabbix, and there was a small problem with it. The first instance of that was not doing a REST call, because CMDBuild didn't have a REST interface at that point of time. So we did a database SQL select. The problem with that is that you introduce technical debt, because if at some point you upgrade the software and it changes the database model, you're out of luck. So at that point, the updates were frozen. There were no more there were updates from CMDBuild, but we just didn't use them, which was of course unfortunate. So about a year ago, I started to develop a Python REST library to talk to CMDBuild, and you can find it on GitHub, and I'll show you the URL later. And I started the migration from SQL and Perl to Python and REST. We integrated it into our own dashboard application, and even now have not only a read interface into CMDBuild, but we also write back. So if somebody wants to add a server to it, we use certain rules to build a name for that server, and with an incremental counter. So it goes into the code goes into CMDBuild, looks at the highest counter level, the maximum counter level for a certain type, increments it, and then writes that back to CMDBuild. So we also write back information now into CMDBuild, which is a huge benefit. And now we are also porting several applications from the old SQL Perl interface to the REST Python interface. Just to give you an overview of the use cases, this is a standard Zabbix monitoring solution, but with over 700 servers, you can't expect us as system administrators to add all those servers manually. So we do that every night with a script. We just get a list of available servers, defined servers in CMDBuild, and we generate that into Zabbix for monitoring. If for some reason a server is deleted, it will never be deleted from Zabbix because we are interested also in historical data. But also the other things can happen. You could define a server and not mention it in CMDBuild. So we also have a violation tool that checks for us that somebody didn't by accident forget some administrative chore. Are all the servers defined in CMDBuild? Are they available in DNS, or are the servers in DNS also defined in CMDB? So that's what we do with our dashboard application, and also this one is being ported to Python and Django framework. So wrapping up, of course it's a short presentation. We are very happy with the use of CMDBuild within Deltares. The application is extremely stable. The support from Tecnoteca is excellent, so we're very happy users. If you're interested in the CMDBuild Python REST interface library, you can find it at this URL. And if you have any remaining questions, because well, I can't be there live today, just drop me an email at jeroen.baten@deltares.nl. I thank you for your attention, and hope you have a very nice day.
Well, welcome back, and thank you, Jeroen. I really hope that you're following us. And well, thank you again for recording such a nice video presentation of your work and of Deltares, and also for the last slide where you said that you're very happy about CMDBuild, and that's what really makes us go on further every day and always do our best. We got